The incredible journey of the Jewish people through the millennia, the saga of eternity. There are stories that are told, and there are stories that live, breathing in the desert sands, echoing in the stones of ancient walls, and pulsating in the heart of a people who are scattered yet unbroken. The history of the Jewish people is not just a chronicle, it's an epic saga of faith, exile, and return, a divine covenant forged in the fire of trial and tempered by time. It is the journey of a small nomadic tribe that would become a nation, give the world a radical monotheistic vision, and against all odds, rise from its own ashes onto the world stage. This is the story of a promise, a journey that begins with a call to one man under a starry Mesopotamian sky and extends to the skyscrapers of Tel Aviv and the heated debates of today's nations. If you've enjoyed our videos, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share our content. Development. From promise to homeland, from exile to hope. The era of the patriarchs, the call, and the covenant. It all begins around 2000 BCE with a man named Abram in the prosperous city-state of Ur of the Chaldees. In a polytheistic world, Abram hears a singular and revolutionary voice, the voice of a single God who makes an extraordinary call and promise to him. Go from your country, your people, and your father's house to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great. Genesis 12:1-2. This is the seminal moment, the birth of an identity. Abram, later renamed Abraham, father of a multitude, becomes the first Hebrew. His journey takes him to Canaan, the promised land. The covenant is sealed through his son Isaac, and then through his grandson Jacob. The Talmud expands the biblical narrative, describing Abraham as a philosopher who arrived at the conclusion of the existence of a single creator through the observation of nature, even before the divine call. Jacob, after wrestling with an angel, has his name changed to Israel, he who struggles with God, lending his new name to the nation that would emerge from his 12 sons, the progenitors of the 12 tribes. Captivity in Egypt and the fire of liberation. A severe famine forces the tribes of Israel to migrate to Egypt, where one of Jacob's sons, Joseph, had become a powerful governor. Initially welcomed over the generations, their growing population is seen as a threat. The pendulum of history swings from hospitality to oppression, and the Hebrews are subjected to brutal slavery for 400 years. It is at the height of this suffering that Moses emerges, a Hebrew raised as an Egyptian prince, who, after encountering God in a burning bush, returns to confront Pharaoh with an audacious demand: "Let my people go." Liberation does not come easily. It is won through 10 devastating plagues, culminating in Passover, Pesach, the night when the angel of death passed over the Israelite homes, marked with the blood of the Lamb. The dramatic crossing of the Red Sea, which parts for the Israelites and closes on the Egyptian army, seals their liberation and becomes the central formative event of Jewish identity. The passage from slavery to freedom under God's redeeming hand. The law, the conquest, and the era of the kings in the desert. At Mount Sinai, the newly liberated nation receives the Torah, the law, the 10 Commandments, and the blueprint for a just and holy society. It is the constitution of their kingdom. After 40 years of wandering, led by Joshua, they enter and conquer Canaan. The turbulent period of the Judges follows, with charismatic leaders who arose in times of crisis. The longing for stability leads the people to ask for a king. Saul is the first, but it is David who becomes the ideal king of Israel. He conquers Jerusalem around 1000 BCE, making it the political and spiritual capital, and his son Solomon builds the first temple, an architectural marvel that becomes the center of Jewish life, the earthly dwelling place of God's presence. The division, the fall, and the first exile. The pinnacle of Solomon's kingdom is followed by its fracture. After his death, internal disputes divide the nation into 2 kingdoms, Israel to the north and Judah to the south. This division weakens both. In 722 BCE, the northern kingdom is conquered by the Assyrian Empire, and its 10 tribes are deported and assimilated, disappearing from history. The southern kingdom, Judah, survives for another century and a half, but disobedience to the covenant and political intrigues lead it to ruin. In 586 BCE, the Babylonian Empire, led by Nebuchadnezzar II, conquers Jerusalem, razes the city, and destroys the Temple of Solomon. The Jewish elite are taken captive to Babylon. The exile is a profound trauma. Without their land and without their temple, the Jews hold on to their one inalienable possession, the Torah. In this period, the synagogue emerges as a center of prayer and study, and Jewish identity refines itself, becoming less dependent on a physical location and more focused on faith and community practice. The Messiah, the Roman occupation, and the Second Destruction. 70 years later, the Persian Empire conquers Babylon, and King Cyrus the Great allows the Jews to return to Judah. Led by Ezra and Nehemiah, they rebuild Jerusalem and erect the Second Temple. In the following centuries, Judea passes through Greek and finally Roman rule. It is in this setting of occupation and fervent messianic expectation that, around 4 BCE, Jesus, Yeshua, of Nazareth is born. For Christians, he is the promised Messiah, the Son of God. For most Jews of that time and today, he was a preacher and a rabbi, but not the expected Messiah, who would be a political liberator and restorer of Jewish sovereignty. Tensions with Rome explode in 66 CE in the Great Jewish Revolt. After a bloody war, the Roman legions, commanded by Titus, besiege and conquer Jerusalem. In 70 CE, in a cataclysmic event that would forever mark the Jewish psyche, the Second Temple is set on fire and completely destroyed. The historian Flavius Josephus, an eyewitness, describes the horror and the carnage. The center of Jewish life was once again torn away. The diaspora and rabbinic survival, with the destruction of the temple and the failure of a second revolt, Bar Kokhba, 132-135 CE. The Jews are scattered throughout the Roman Empire and beyond, the diaspora. The central question becomes, how to be Jewish without the land and without the temple? The answer came from the rabbis. In centers like Yavne, they restructured Judaism, focusing on prayer, the study of the Torah, and the application of Jewish law, halakha, to daily life. The Talmud, a monumental compendium of rabbinic laws, stories, and debates, becomes the portable homeland of the Jewish people, ensuring their cultural and religious survival through almost 2 millennia of exile, persecutions, expulsions, and the indescribable horror of the Holocaust. The return, Zionism, and the rebirth of Israel. In the late 19th century, in response to growing anti-Semitism in Europe, a modern political movement emerged, Zionism, led by Theodor Herzl. Its vision was simple and audacious. The Jewish people needed their own state in their ancestral homeland to guarantee their survival. After the devastation of the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime, the Zionist cause gained unprecedented international support. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. The 2 millennia-old dream had become a reality. The next day, neighboring Arab nations attacked, initiating a series of wars and a complex conflict that persists to this day. In the years that followed, Israel absorbed hundreds of thousands of Jewish refugees from Arab countries and Holocaust survivors, transforming an arid land into a modern, democratic, and technologically advanced nation. A people who struggle and live. The history of the Jewish people is a tapestry woven with the threads of divine promise and human resilience. It is a narrative of extremes, from the intimacy with God at Sinai to the desolation of Auschwitz, from the glory of the Temple of Solomon to the ashes of 70 CE, from being scattered to all corners of the earth to the miraculous return to their homeland. Abraham's journey, which began with a step of faith in the darkness, transformed into a march of millennia through history. More than the story of a nation, it is a testament to the power of ideas, the tenacity of identity, and the inextinguishable hope of a people who carry in their very name, Israel, their essence, one who struggles with God and with men, and prevails. The story continues to be written, but its past serves as a powerful reminder that, even in the darkest of circumstances, the flame of faith and identity can not only survive but also illuminate the way back home. We have come to an end. If you enjoyed the story, like and share it and subscribe to the channel. Until the next story.